I just want to welcome you all here and thank you so much for coming. It's so wonderful to see such a range of people here, and it's not just our friends coming along, which is absolutely fantastic. I really want to thank you all so much for coming along. I'm just going to quickly go through what the running order of the meeting today is going to be. We're going to quickly have a very short introduction sort of as to what exactly is humanism from Pierce de Courcy. He's a local celebrant. He's been a celebrant, a humanist celebrant with the HAI, the Humanist Association of Ireland, for the last 6 years. And he's married, and has children, and is perfectly normal, and not in any way strange or bizarre. So he's going to talk to you more about that. Erin and I, who are, I suppose, co-founders of Cork Humanists, are just going to give a quick introduction about ourselves and kind of the vision behind Cork Humanists and why we feel there's a need to create this community within Cork and to facilitate this space. We're going to talk about how we'd like to see things go for the next few months, kind of put out a few structures, ground ideas, and then we're going to have a Q&A where we're going to get feedback from everyone here. What it is that you guys want us to do, what events you'd like us to hold, or where you would like to see this community go, or what your needs are. And then I'll just quickly summarise up what was said in that and summarise the meeting, and then we'll just close up and be on our happy humanist way. So I'm going to pass you over to Pierce de Courcy, like I said, perfectly normal, lovely guy. We're just going to give you a quick rundown of what exactly is humanism and kind of where we're coming from and our vision of what we'd like Cork Humanists to do. So I'd like to welcome and thank Pierce for coming along today.
The first thing I should do on behalf of everybody is that none of us will be here in the room today without Aaron and Annie for bringing us all together and for publicising this event. And you were very nice to give me a round of applause as I stood up, but I think I am mostly normal. I am from Galway though. So to speak on really what is humanism, I suppose what I wanted to do really is maybe talk about my own experiences and what has brought me to where I am and what I have been doing for the last 6 years. And I was born in 1967 in this country, and those people that are here that are my age, to those of you that are much younger, we live in a very different country. The country I grew up in was poor, it might be poor again. It was conservative, it was inward looking, it was patriarchal, it was closed really. It was, I think, a society, I think, with a lot of fear in it. There was fear really to stand up and say, this is who I am, or these are the choices I make. I mean, Ireland, until very recently, was white, it was straight, it was rural, and you kept your mouth shut and you knew what was good for you. Because those people that would stand up, there was the weight of practically all of society would shout them down. And where I suppose my experience with humanism came in was in 2004 when we had our first child. I had 2 daughters. It's kind of Douglas now, that's where I know Cleo from. They've grown up in a very different country. It's no longer white, it's no longer, it's multicultural, it's multi-ethnic, there's a lot more diversity. The fear, I think, I would hope is gone, that it still takes a lot of bottom to stand up and say who you are, but I think much more, you will at least get a hearing, you know, that the structures exist now, that there's no need to be afraid. You can stand up and say who you are and demand your rights as a human being. Now, my journey to humanism came really was when my child, our first child was born, our daughter, and you know, the usual thing was, when's the Christmas? And I said, well, myself and my wife both said, well, there isn't going to be one. And I suppose it's because we were older and we could, you know, people don't mean to put pressure on you or anything, but it's what's expected. You know, I was baptised, I was brought up Catholic, my family are Catholic, my wider family, but I'm not. And I just, both myself and my wife at that stage, not that we're radicalised, but we weren't going to stand up and say, right, this child that we have, that we love, is somehow tainted with original sin. And that was my breaking point, because I quite happily took it along, and nothing religion really is, it doesn't impact on my day-to-day life. But that was the thing that forced me to take, not forced me to take a stand, it sounds like it's a battle, but it wasn't. It was just, right, okay, we're not doing that. Okay, so if we're not doing that, how do we bring our families together? Because we thought ceremony was very important, and we wanted to bring our friends and our family together. I'm from Galway, my wife is from Cork, people haven't met, and we wanted to bring them together in a room and to say, this is our daughter, we love her very much, and you're all our family, and we care about you, and, you know, welcome. And that was much harder to do than I would have thought. And luckily, I did what I suppose most everybody does when presenting with a problem. I got onto Yahoo, as it was then, with Tom Google, who has disappeared, and I entered in non-religious ceremonies. And the Humanist Association of Ireland came up, and I phoned a guy called Dick Spicer, that some of you may know, and he said, I'm your man, and I chatted to him, and I talked to him, and I said, look, Dick, this is what we're looking to do. I mean, we just want to have a celebration of the birth of our child and to welcome into both of our families of origin. And I struck up a friendship with Dick, and I found, as he told me, look, you know, you're a humanist, and I said, I didn't know that. Thanks very much for telling me. But, you know, like, what is humanism? I mean, really, it's a concern that I would hope that all people would have, that we be kind of nice to each other, that we look out for each other. If we don't have each other, we become very lonely. I mean, if we can't depend on friends and family and the wider community, and if they can't depend on us in turn, I mean, we don't exist as a community, we don't exist as a people. We're just rugged individualists, like something that, you know, as I was saying in Cormac McCarthy's The Road. I mean, that's a lonely and a sort of weak existence that really what humanism is, at one level, is that we would look at each other as moral and ethical people and expect moral and ethical behaviour from ourselves and from the institutions and the people who govern us. That, I suppose, a defining thing would be that, I mean, I was baptised and brought up Catholic, but I would have lost that belief, I suppose, as it was around 16 or 17. Now, people have different journeys to that, you know, but for me, I mean, you know, it was traumatic at the time, and it caused a lot of trouble at home. But, you know, all I was just saying, really, was just standing up and saying, well, I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. I can't get my head around it. And I didn't, that's all that I could articulate, you know, at that time. I did sense very much, because it was around the time of, which would be ancient history for a lot of you, of Gareth Fitzgerald, who died this year, and the whole culture war part of the 80s, where there was huge debates about the country would be destroyed by contraception, the country would be destroyed by divorce. As it happens, the country has been destroyed by economists, but nobody saw that coming. Well, maybe they did, but they were told, you know, where to go again. But, you know, I didn't understand that. I couldn't make sense of that. And that would have, and I was grand with that, because, you know, that was just a personal thing, and I could do it along perfectly well, and it didn't impact on me either any or which way until it actually came time to raise my own family. And then it becomes an issue, I think, because it's very hard in terms of education, or, you know, if you're not a believer, there's a lot of pressure on you to conform into the belief system, you know, and fair enough, you stand up for that, because, you know, plenty of people don't, but plenty of people do. But, you know, I think, as a citizen of this country, you know, and my children will be raised to be citizens of this country, that really, there's a lot of us out there, you know, and we think broadly along similar lines, and we would like our opinion to be put in there. I mean, as it stands, you know, if my child ever ran for president of this country, you know, she would have to stand up and take the oath of office, which says she believes in God and make God direct her. Now, if she gets to the stage when she's president, she'll probably be crossing her fingers behind her back. But I mean, is that fair? I'm not sure. I mean, should all the posts and the offices in this country be available to all the citizens? I think that's fair. I think that's nothing controversial. That's nothing radical. But that where you stand on a personal, private, moral issue, you know, is, you know, I think I've gone past those times. But I'm not sure that society has caught up with that. And with my humanism, I mean, I suppose humanists have been described in many words, like atheists or secularists or free thinkers or rationalists, you know, apostates, enemies, heretics. No, I'm none of those things. I mean, I'm just a regular guy, get up, go to work, try and mind my kids, get a mortgage, all that sort of stuff, you know. I'm a bog standard normal person, you know. And it just so happens that I got involved with the Humanist Association because you know, we had children. Other than that, I wouldn't be here. And as it happens, the last 6 years I've been travelling all around Cork and Kerry, sometimes over to Waterford, up to Clare. And I meet people that have decided that at a time of their life when they want to name their children, or when they're getting a wedding, when they're getting married to the person that they love, or at the end of their life when they would like their lives to be celebrated, that they don't want to go down the religious route. And, you know, I try to work with them and help with them on their decision and help them, you know, I suppose particularly with weddings, that I would think that those of you that have been at a humanist wedding, it would be a little bit more personal, it would be more intimate, that it's not a sacrament, you know, that there is no law, there's no statute that can keep a relationship together, but it's the people in it keep it together. And that for me is, you know, when I come to talk about what humanism is, as I say, I'm no philosopher on it, and I wish I could live up to it as often as I try to, but that, you know, we would look at each other as, that we would have respect for each other. And I don't think that's in any way, you know, that's a philosophy that's shared by many people, that you know, we would try to be decent to each other, that we would have decent and fair institutions, and that if you grow up either not being raised religiously, or you find that you no longer believe in a religious faith, that shouldn't disadvantage you. And just to end up really, you know, it's a time of great change in the country. I mean, any of us who've been living through it the last 3 years, things have happened and been said that are, they defy words. I don't understand it. I don't understand what's happened a lot of the time. But one of the things that happened, I think, is that people are no longer willing to accept the old platitudes and the old, sure, Yara, sit down and eat wine, or Yara, you know, just stay quiet and pass, you know. I mean, I think those times are gone, that there is a need for people who do have an opinion and a voice to add their opinion and their voice to the mix. So, in talking about humanism, this isn't actually a call to arms or anything like that, but, you know, I know many of you sitting there would be in this room for many different reasons, and you've all gone on your journey, and I just presume that once you're born, yeah, when you go on your journey, it's like the X Factor. But that anybody that's been born in Ireland is, you know, gets religious belief by osmosis. It's just, we're a Christian country, and most of Northwest Europe is, and I'm not in any way denying that heritage, that's where we've come from, but, you know, history happened yesterday. You know, every tradition is a day old. I mean, unless people, I think, add their voices, or look for change, or lobby people, or speak up, you know, and again, I'm no radical, I'm no campaigner, but unless you can put a face to a voice, and unless you can put a person to an opinion, it's very easy to be ignored. And again, just in ending, I would like to thank Aaron and Annie for inviting me here today. It's not exactly the best speech I've ever given, but I did want to read when I came here today. I wanted to speak from my own experiences, and I think from my heart, and I hope that in some way I've communicated that. Thank you very much.